What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and comment down below. Well, you already know, today is a new day. So took a little break, I had to refresh my mind, and I'm back at it with the movie reviews. Now, since, this is 2020, and we don't have an abundance of new movies coming out, I decided to kind of go for the blast from the past and review something a little bit old, but yet good. Now, before I start off, make sure I have started a Patreon account. If you guys want to become a patron, there will be a link in the description. This way you guys can actually be a part of the content that I create and join the force, the family, and support the movement. I'd appreciate that. Also, the movie that I'm about to review, an Amazon link will be linked in the description below as well. If you want it, you know what to do. And I'll explain why it might be a good deal to get it any dang way. So with that being said, what am I reviewing today? Well, bam! We are looking at the 2004 classic movie Saw. Now this right here is a Blu-ray collection that I got recently, and Amazon had a freaking 8-film Blu-ray collection for like $13.50 or something. That's a hell of a deal. So I had to get on top of that. So that's the reason why this is a hell of a deal. I'm about to link that in the description below so you guys can check it out if that's something that you want. But any person that loves horror movies, this is definitely something that you want to add to your collection. Now, as far as we go to the 2004 film Saw became such an iconic franchise. Now, this movie straight up was like on some word of mouth stuff. I remember I didn't even know what the hell this movie was until my sister was like, man, you need to see this crazy ass movie called Saw. And I'm like, okay, what is it about? And she's just like, she's like, man, that movie's crazy. It has a dope ass twist. You need to go see it. And I'm just like, whatever. So back in the day, I went to the movie theaters when we went to the little cheap movie theaters in the hood or whatever, and it was like you basically see two movies damn near for the price of one, back-to-back movies. So I really wanted to see Seed of Chucky, but like it was Seed of Chucky and Saw was attached to it. So I just so happened to see Saw. Saw was the first movie that we watched. This movie stars Tobin Bell, it has Danny Glover in it, and I think, what's his name? And Leo Whannell and Carrie Ellis. Well, anyway, to the point, I didn't know Leo Whannell was in it. Anyway, so to the point, the Saw franchise has become a staple in the month of October. I swear, after this movie came out and it hit, like every single October, it was like you had to wait for that new Saw movie to come out because a lot of people, it started to get to the point where it was so repetitive. You kind of seen it already. You kind of was burnt out on the franchise, but you had to watch it because you needed to see the twist. And also, you needed to see how the movie was going to progress, even without Tobin Bell. Tobin Bell, spoiler alert, Tobin Bell becomes deceased in the film franchise. So eventually you're just like, well, how the hell are you going to continue the Jigsaw franchise without Jigsaw? But they did a pretty good job at closing in the gaps and telling a cohesive story. It became a little bit repetitive after a while, but it always did what it needed to do. Now, with that being said, let's stick to Saw number 1. All right, so Saw number 1 opens up with these two men. They're stuck inside of a bathroom, and basically they're trying to figure out how to get out. The killer, Jigsaw, gives them an ultimatum. One of you guys, if you want to get out, you need to kill the dude that's across from you. Simple, right? And so basically, he's not a killer, so he's just like, all right, I'm just not going to do it. So the movie progresses and progresses, and it puts people in this. The whole theme of Jigsaw is very original. It's a man who's on the brink of death, who was given a second chance, and basically he's testing people that don't value their life and putting them to the test, basically the death test, and putting them so close to death that when they survive, they'll learn to appreciate life. That's his whole philosophy, right? But then sometimes it's weird because you watch these Saw traps, and you're just like, dude, like that person is probably gonna die. Like when you're watching the first film and literally only one person survives, you're just like, well, that's kind of like some of these mazes are freaking impossible. Like okay, the one with the guy who has the flammable liquid all over him, and he has to find a freaking combination that's written on the wall, and all the walls are filled with freaking numbers. Impossible, like literally impossible. The guy that has to crawl through all the barbed wire without a freaking shirt and things like that, and not die from freaking gashes, freaking impossible. You know, so it's like you those things are impossible to get out from. Now, in regards to like this particular situation where the doctor believes that he's supposed to saw his leg off in order to survive, even though it was simple that he just had to kill the other guy across the room. Now, it really makes you wonder, like, sometimes these situations are just so, they're just so abstract that it's just like, dang, like, where did you come up with this damn idea from? What made you, well, I know how he came up with the idea, but I'm just talking about the elaborate schemes, like the freaking reverse bear trap and things like that. Like, that was the only one where I felt like, honestly and truthfully, she had a chance. Like, all she had to do was just get the freaking key out of the dude that was alive. Like, that didn't seem too far-fetched, in my opinion. Like, that's doable. But all the other mazes, like, sometimes you look through some of the other mazes and it seems freaking impossible. I forgot that Danny Glover was in this movie. To be honest with you, I completely forgot he was in this movie. So when I watched it again for the first time since I originally saw it in theaters, I was freaking floored. I'm like, yo, he's in this movie? I didn't even know that, right? But he honestly becomes a very important piece to this movie, and he's essential to the story. So, you know, he has to like he's a part of the story, and eventually he meets his demise at the end. But I digress. So, with that being said, the Saw franchise is such an original idea, and then to me, it gave birth to other films, especially films that kind of focus on gore. It gave birth to them. Like, I believe Hostel, only reason that Hostel did as well as it did was freaking because of Saw. If you never had Saw, I don't think we would have had Hostel, to be honest with you. So Eli Roth basically wrote that wave in order to get his hit with Hostel. Saw was very original. Still to this day, it's original. Like, to think that this whole damn time, you're trying to find out the person that did this damn thing, and he was, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Saw, he was on the floor the whole damn time. Like, that threw me off. Like, there's only a few movies where I threw a controller or say, get the fuck out of here. And that's one of them. Saw is definitely one of those movies where you did not see that ending coming. There's no hint that this man on the floor is Tobin Bell, aka Jigsaw. You never, like, you never expect it at all. So, with that being said, Saw in my book is a solid 4.5 out of 5 movie. It has a decent amount of gore. It has a good story, and honestly, this movie was one of the first movies to freak me out in a long time. After we saw this movie, we came out of the movie there, and it was late as hell at night. And this movie is iconic in my life for two reasons. One, there was plenty of debates about what we would have did if we were put in some of these situations. It always started some sort of debate, some sort of argument, some sort of debate, some sort of back and forth. What I would have did, And then also the thing that was creepy about this damn movie was that it can honestly happen. Like, when the doctor's abducted in the parking lot, that can honestly happen to a lot of people. Like, you're just sitting in a parking lot thinking everything is cool, and boom, you just get abducted. So it kind of freaked me out, man. We're walking down the street at night. It's dark. You see like freaking crackheads scramble across the street, like, and it's just like, what the fuck was that? It honestly set the mood to be very, very creepy and walking around alone at night because you don't know what's lurking in the dark. With that being said, like I said, the Saw franchise is a great franchise. The first film, to me, stands above all of them. I give the first film 4.5 out of 5. Great movie to watch. Awesome soundtrack. Iconic soundtrack. Um, my wife loves that soundtrack. She loves the soundtrack to Saw. It's one of her favorite horror movie themes out there. So with that being said, if you like the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the way out. You are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Don't forget, if you want to become a Patreon, there is a link. There will be a link down below to look into how to do that. Remember, you could help me make more content. You could actually be a content creator yourself. You could kind of point me in the direction of the content that you want me to make. Also, there is a link for this actual Blu-ray, this eight film collection Blu-ray of Saw. I believe last time I checked, it was at a really good bargain. I don't know if it's at that same price, but this is around the time frame of Black Friday, so it might be even cheaper. Who knows? I would recommend just going and checking it out for yourself. And until next time, adios.